Good boss.
Good boss.
Good boss.
People leave bosses.
People leave people.
She's my boss.
Okay. Yeah, he's an investor.
Yeah.
LinkedIn better for you? What do you want more?
LinkedIn's better. What's the difference? I like the way that we're out here stopping people in the street and asking them, what is a good boss? What makes a good boss? You know, do people leave bosses or do people leave companies? I don't know. Let me know in the comments right below. What do you think? I want to ask you two questions. I'm a leadership coach. What's the best boss you've ever had? Actually, do you have a boss or are you self-employed?
She's my boss.
Okay, so you're going to say good things about her.
Yes.
Now you're a good boss.
She really helps me understand what she's asking for. When she's asking me to do something, it's not like she just gives me a task and like doesn't follow through. She really gives the instruction. She helps me if I need. But she's also very understanding. Like if you have a question, she's always there to answer it. And like if I have to log off to do something, she totally gets it. She has a very good work-life balance.
Obviously, you're hanging out together. Right?
Yeah, we are hanging out. We just got lunch.
Okay.
And she's very relatable. She's a friend. She's a boss. She's awesome. But before that, I worked for myself. So.
Okay. And do you think, like, people leave bosses or people leave companies?
I think people leave bosses.
Why do you think that?
I think that in the other jobs that I've had, I can love a company, I can love a job, I can love my coworkers, but if my views and values don't align with the management, then I really don't have a chance to excel, and I wouldn't be able to grow at a company if my boss and I didn't have a good relationship. So I think that only the bosses are companies.
There you go. You have it. People leave bosses, not companies. Thank you.
No problem.
This is interview two. Interview two, Bobby.
Tell me about the best manager you have ever had.
The best manager that I ever had was my boss for a long time, for 15 years. He was very good in men. Like, he was very good at teaching basics, explaining things, breaking them down, supported, understood the personal things.
Who's the worst manager you've ever had and why?
The worst manager that I had was the first manager that I had in the United States. I was working for a credit union. She was all over the place. She couldn't organize herself. Tried to delegate us to organize her, but then she had a lot of input once that you were done with. So you had to redo it.
Okay, so worst management skills. Don't be disorganized and delegate things to your staff and then follow up when they haven't done it when you can't do it yourself.
Yes.
You know, they're all struggling for staff and trying to find people, but let's keep it real, folks. It's about being a good manager, a good boss to the store. That's how you're going to keep your staff. That's how you're going to retain them. So we're going to find some more people and ask them what they think is a good manager. I love this store. I love Missouri. Missouri is actually a Canadian brand, which is my heart because I'm also from Toronto, got a Canadian passport, honorary Canadian after 16 years. And I really love what they're doing. Wynwood's amazing. It's got so many great retailers in it. And so if you haven't checked it out and been around this neighborhood, you really should. Hey guys. I know you're stalking people and I'm stalking people.
Let's stalk each other.
All right, let's talk. The best boss they've ever had or the worst boss they've ever had?
I've had
And
an
why?
alcoholic boss, and she was extremely angry, and that was really why. Hard worker, super great person outside of work, but in work, she was very, very, very angry. It was hard to deal with her.
Okay.
Best boss? I've had a few good bosses. One of them is right here.
I love her.
Yes. So very sweet, very, she teaches you well, makes you like want to do your job well. And I think that makes a good boss, and that makes you want to come to work, makes you want to do well.
Yeah.
She's definitely one of those, but I've had a few good bosses. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think people leave companies or do people leave people?
People leave people. Yeah. People leave people for sure. And I'm one of those people that leave people. I can love your company, but if it's hard to work in an environment, I cannot stay. And I think people leave now, especially because mental health is such a big thing. Like, I will leave a person even if I love and believe in your company. If you're hard to work with, I will leave.
See, you heard it right there.
Yes.
People leave people,
leave
people don't leave companies. And so if you have managers on your team, what are you doing to make sure they're taking care of their people, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And people with good managers tend to work harder. You want to be better because the person who is supervising you encourages you to be great. So I think that makes a big difference.
Amazing.
Good bosses makes huge difference.
Amazing. You heard it. That's why we teach positive leadership skills. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
You're taking a retail walk around Wynwood right now. How's it going, Caesar?
I love it here.
do?
There's so much life in the streets, which
much
is not
life.
something that you can see everywhere in Milan. Not only people driving.
That's very true. I'm a leadership coach, and I'm just asking everybody's opinion on what do you think is a good manager or a bad manager? Like, have you had a manager before that's really good that you can remember?
I think the best, I'm in a leadership role, so I think the best thing you can do as far as leadership is be a leader. And I know it sounds, don't be too bossy. You got to remember your team is in certain dire situations. We don't know the whole spiel. We can't just be barking orders. We need to understand where they're coming from so we can also litigate and help them in any way we can and lead the situation. If they're in a crisis mode, we show support in any way we can. We don't just, like, have you seen The Elf? Remember The Elf? You know how that man was a boss at the end? He was telling you, well, it's got to be due on Christmas Eve. No, that's a boss. That's a horrible boss. A good leader will be like, no, we'll mitigate that. We don't have to do it then. We could do it beginning of the year. I mean, being a boss is good, but you need to be a leader and you need to have an example. Like, you need to.
Amazing. What's the difference? I like the way that you said leader a lot and use that word. What's the difference in your mind between a manager and a leader?
I don't think there's really a solid difference, I would say. I think it just depends on the personality of that person. Because I could say that I'm the security manager, I'm the manager of this venue, but it's also how the staff views you. So if you're displaying those qualities, those trustworthy qualities that they can go up to you, hey, I have an issue, then display that you can handle that issue for them. If you can't handle it, then you mitigate it and you help them in any way, shape, or form. So it's not really like on them. Even if it's their job duty to do so, you help guide them. And even if you're lost, that doesn't mean you pit it on them, like, we'll figure it out. No. It's about being a team and figuring out together. And somebody has to lead the cause and the situation, I should say.
I love that. So you heard it right here in Wynwood. Trust. I heard trust. Getting your people to work with you. You must be a really good boss. Your team must love working with you.
I don't have a turnover rate. I don't. And in my department, everyone has stayed the same. So it's been like that for, I guess, a year and a half now since I've been it's been like good in my specific department. So
amazing. People don't leave companies, they leave people. You heard it right here. He's got 100% retention rate. Congratulations.
Thank you, miss. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
You have a lovely evening.
What I've really learned by coming out here on the street and just asking people what a good manager is, what a bad manager is, it is clear to me more than ever that people leave people and not companies. Look at that. This is real, folks. This is street style. This is real. First of all, are you self-employed or do you have a boss?
I am self-employed.
Have you ever had a boss?
Yes.
Okay, so you're self-employed and you had a boss. Why are you self-employed then? Because you had a bad experience with a boss and you wanted to be self-employed?
I would say, the end goal is always to work for yourself. At the end of the day, there's no one better to trust than yourself. Not necessarily a boss is bad. I think that just part of the financial freedom journey and just wanting to, get to levels where you want to be at, you got to take a leap and do it yourself. Did I have situations where I didn't like my boss? Yeah, absolutely. It's tough to put other people in your shoes. There's not that much trust in this life.
What made you have a bad boss? Like, what was it that made it not a great experience?
I think it was a short period of time, but I think it was mostly just not being flexible on your own hours. Just in my opinion, I don't like to be bossed around. I like to sort of manage things where I like to manage my own. So it's just not agreeing with a certain style of management or not seeing eye to eye on certain office cultures, the way you want, office space to be or the store to be or anything. I think that's, for me, was the most.
So now you are your own boss. Are you building a team to be a leader? Are you a leader? Do you have a team?
I do have a team. We're building now. We're growing now. It's very difficult, actually, to find like-minded individuals to bring into your own office space. Yeah. But I think I don't like to call it as a boss. I think the word comes with a very negative connotation. It's just one big team. Someone calls the shots, yeah. But at the end of the day, you're nothing without your team and employees. Learning how to manage and lead, based by example is the team sees you come in early, they see you put the work in, the effort in. and it pushes them and motivates them to sort of strive to be like you. So yeah, it's all about being a leader.
I love it. Being a leader. So if you're not self-employed yet, be inspired by this man here to go and build your own business, build your own company.
Not me.
Right. Learn what not to do by, the leaders that you maybe had that weren't great, but you could always learn what not to do and then turn it into a positive.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah. In the workplace, you always got to be a sponge, especially if you have larger goals and aspirations. Thank you. Good luck.
It is evident to me now still that people lead people. You heard it from everybody we spoke to today. Good boss, bad boss, don't use the word boss, build trust, lead by example, whatever it is. If you're leading people, you need to take care of them because they'll leave you if you don't. And if you're a company and you're not training your managers on how to become great leaders, you're putting your whole organization at risk, in my opinion. You heard it from everybody on the street today.